Yeah, so today we wanted to talk about Toby Keith. Obviously, with this podcast, if you
What's
have
his real
listened,
name?
it's Leonard Floyd. I don't fucking know.
Chicago Bear.
I don't know that, actually. I figured his name was Toby Keith.
It's not Toby Keith.
Is it?
Well, it's part of that.
Well, I figure his last name is
I think something.
Toby Keith Koval.
That's what it is.
Keith is his middle name.
I was going to say, I knew that one of the names is not the name.
Oh, I figured it was his real name because his daughter's name is Crystal Keith. So I figured that was...
Well, that's what they all do.
Yeah, I figured that. I did not know that.
As I remember, he had some name that kind of sounded dumb.
But yeah, so his career, 93 was his first CD. So yeah, he's been singing for a while.
He had the mullet, like the curly mullet.
Yeah, so
oh baby.
So yeah, we wanted to talk about Toby Keith because if you have listened to this podcast before, hello, welcome back, and we apologize for everything that happens. But
it's gonna happen anyway.
But we wanted to talk about art. Like we usually like talking about smaller artists because we want to get people to listen to them. Like as we said before, it's really cool that people have messaged us saying like, I hadn't heard of this artist until I listened to your podcast.
Yeah, that's honestly my favorite part.
And and it's so obviously you've heard of Toby Keith because he's the face of country memes when people make fun of this genre of being.
Well, and if you were alive when 9/11 happened, you have to have heard courtesy the red, white, and blue. Like it's impossible not to have.
Yeah, and so we wanted to just kind of break past that memeism of him because
he does have a lot of the overly patriotic songs.
Yeah.
And I know this is where you're going, is that he's much more than that.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. I was also going to say that I had that thought earlier, is that he is like this America meme. Like when you think of like American country music, it's like Toby Keith pops up because he's sponsored by Ford F-150. Like he is just
great
like
truck.
I used to have one and I fucking missed that truck. But he is like the face of like when you think of stereotypical country music, like he's the root tootin', gun shooting fucking country guy. Even though I'm pretty sure he's a Democrat, I've heard, but I don't know. But I don't care. So that's like the thing people think about, and we wanted to be like, yes, he has shitty songs like Courtesy, the Red, White, and Blue, and like the Taliban song, which is ungodly racist.
Love that song too.
I guess it's not. It might not be as racist as "I'm Heading Your Way, Jose" by Chris Young. That is
not as great.
Pretty racist song, but
or like overtly sexist, like his "Get Out of My Car."
Oh, I love that song. Run and Block was on my top 15. It was it was number 15. I had to include it because I listened to that song a lot.
So he certainly has what I would certainly call guilty pleasure songs, because I do legitimately listen to Courtesy the Red, White, and Blue.
I do
and
too.
I jam it on the 4th of July, and I get very excited.
It's a fucking drink and jam song. I don't doubt that. But like the thing with Toby Keith, that's like his last album is that Bus Songs one, where it's literally just album. All it's like I think 3 of the songs are new, and then it's just all of his just like I'm trying to be offensive songs all put on one album. Like it has the Ballad of Ballad, which is actually a pretty funny song, and it has Run and Block, it has Get Out of My Car, it has Weed with Willie, it has all those songs on it and that are just dumb, and then it obviously has that stupid, what the fuck was that, Wacky Tobacco.
That song is so
I'm
bad.
pretty sure we talked about it on the podcast way back when, because that song is atrocious. But like his career, and what I was thinking about it, seeing that his first album was almost 30 years ago, like is I think he's just bored now, and he's just and I think also he's also contractually obligated to put out an album a year, because that's what he did for like 5 fucking years. And so I think he just has to spew shit out, and so that's why people are forgetting about him, because he's not putting out good albums anymore with good singles.
I don't think, I mean, I can't speak for his intentions, but I don't think he cares anymore. Like not like in terms of like he doesn't care about music at all. Like I just feel like the huge country star thing.
He has 20 number 1 hits.
Yeah, like I feel like he's at this point he's been like, I've been doing this for so damn long, I'm just gonna kind of have fun, and that's why I feel like this Bus Songs thing was like, it was a repackaging of a bunch of old songs, so he didn't have to write anything new, and then just kind of the tone of it. Like I feel like he's just at this point where he's kind of like, I'm just going to enjoy this unbelievable wealth that I have accumulated.
Yeah,
and I have to release songs because that keeps making me money, and so I'm just going to keep doing it. And I really don't have a problem with that, but I feel the moral obligation to talk about the great songs from the past that I do.
His last number one hit was 2011 "Made in America." Like, and of course that's another just fucking like America song. And so,
well, I mean, all he's really got to do is just have another one of those come out, and it'll chart.
Well, that's what's surprising, because he had the song "Drunk Americans" come out in 2014, which I actually like. It's a good drinking song. It's just that it's the one that was written by Brandy Clark, and it's just like, we're all drunk Americans.
Yep.
Like, I do enjoy that song. It's a good drinking song. But I just feel like because he also, back when he did it, he had, he had, before Made in America, his one before that was American Ride, just another stupid song. And then, but before that, he had God Love Her and She Never Cried in Front of Me. Like, those were heartfelt country songs. And I feel like that's what he used to do, where he'd put out albums that were really good and then have really good songs on them. But then he just kind of started spewing them out so quickly that they just became he was, spreading his, thing too thin. I can't think of words right now. He just
spreading that thing too thin.
Yeah,
you gotta spread it wide.
You know what that means. But I just feel like he just shot his wad too quickly. And also it's that the good thing about him is he has some bad songs on his album, like bad, but they're not like horrible pop songs.
Yes.
Like, they are still country, and I feel like on top of the fact that he throws out so much music, he's in a world where it's like you have to be young, sexy, and hip, and he's kind of a fat old guy now, and it's just like
time catches up to us
and
all.
He's not about to try and pull the fucking like Rodney Atkins
and I respect the hell out of
country whatever the fuck that song was called. And so I think he's just kind of living in the old school a little bit, even though he still does put out songs of like the perspective of a 24-year-old hitting on a chick, even though it's like, dude, you're in your 50s and you have a adult daughter who is married.
which is all why I feel like he's just at this point where he's just like chilling. Like, he's doing what he needs to do to keep making music, and I'm sure he loves making music, but I'm sure at this point he's kind of like, I've done so much music that it's like, what else is there to do? And so he's got this rhythm that he kind of this cookie cutter album type that he can just kind of shoot out.
And he has so much music that you sent me your list, there's one song on there that's on our list that I hadn't even heard of before now, and I was just like, or maybe I had, but I forgot it something. But
that doesn't surprise me, because there's plenty of them that I didn't recognize just going through his albums, and then on your list too. But I was just like, I feel like you have listened to all of it. You should know all of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing also. I have listened to most of his shit because I listen to his albums when they come out still, just to see if there's anything good. And on each album, he's actually had a song that I've enjoyed. Like, his last really good album was Clancy's Tavern.
Yeah.
That album was fantastic from 2011. And then he had Hope on the Rocks, which had a few. Drinks After Work had a few. And 35 Mile Per Hour Town had one good song that I really enjoyed or two. I think Drunk Americans was on that one too.
I like the Jimmy Buffett song.
What was that one?
It's like Sailboat something.
Sailboat for Sale. Yeah. Jimmy Buffett. Actually, he did. I don't think it was on any of his albums, but he had that Too Drunk to Karaoke song.
Oh, yeah.
Or was that a Jimmy Buffett song with Toby Keith? I think maybe. I don't remember, but that was a pretty funny song. But it's just pretty much what we want to do this episode is talk about how even on some newer albums, definitely on his older albums, which you've heard if you're older and lived in the 90s and 2000s, Toby Keith was a guy that my dad was always listening to, which got me into listening because as good as I once was like a song.
He was one of the first people that I listened to that made me want to listen to country music, because there was a while when I was real young that I didn't want to listen to it. I was like, no, it's all the twangy shit. I don't want to listen to that, Dad. And then and then I started listening to it more, and Toby Keith was one of the guys that kind of got me into it. And so, in my opinion, his best album is the 35 Biggest Hits album.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the one.
A good chunk of my list.
Most of mine is from that, if not, like, all of it. Because that's what I would listen to the most, because I had the fucking 2 CDs, and I would have them in the car.
The other thing I wanted to say before we got into the top was, when looking at the songs, I was going to count them, I didn't have time to, was a lot of the songs from his older albums that we have on our list were singles. And a lot of them that we have from the newer ones are just kind of B-sides that, you know, the hidden gems that we always talk
That's
about.
just showing the tide of the music has turned.
Yeah, and it just, it goes to show that back in the day, the singles people released were good. They were just good songs.
People wanted to listen to music on the radio and not have to think about shooting themselves afterwards.
Exactly.
It was a different time.
Yeah, and so I was just thinking about that, like, yeah, because the 35 biggest hits are obviously hits that went, you know, number one or chart a top 10 or something like that. So it was really kind of interesting to look at that.